Hello, basketball fans. It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer to help you get ready for Week 12 of the NBA schedule. Week 12 is already upon us. I'm recording this on Monday. I'm coming at you a little later than normal. We're trying to do like Friday, Sunday now, but my wife surprised me and took me to New Orleans so I could go to another arena in my arena quest and check Smoothie Center off. And after we got there, our flights home got canceled. So we got a couple extra days in New Orleans, which, twist my arm, a couple extra days in New Orleans is not a complaint. But well, the 2 feet of snow here in Michigan melted and my basement got flooded. And I spent all day since being back tearing out drywall down to the floor so that my basement doesn't get mold and stuff. So that's what happened yesterday. Couldn't prioritize a video over my house, like falling apart. So I had to take care of it. But I want to get this to you so we could still get that edge at week 12 schedule. We're going to do as quick as I can. Probably not going to hit the waivers too hard because it's already here and upon us. We'll try and cover this in the comments and over Twitter if we got other questions. Let's go look at week 12 pace and defensive efficiency. I pull pace from ESPN's PER page and defensive efficiency from Cleaning the Glass because they cut out garbage time. By now, we're entering week 12. Things have stabilized. We're not seeing too much little shifts here or there. Someone goes out, say Steph goes out, which we don't think of him as a knockdown defender, but that adds more pool time. I love the pool party, but their defense changes a little bit. They end up back at the top. So you want to take San Antonio or Detroit. That's not going to change. Look at that defensive efficiency. San Antonio's like 2 points worse than the rest of the league. Then Detroit's another 2 points worse than everyone else. They're going to be up there at the top. Lakers, Utah, Charlotte, Indiana, Houston. Now just Golden State. That's what I was touching on. I don't think any of this is really shocking. Minnesota's on that edge, but the difference between 109 and 102 is pretty big. It's funny, though, if you went back to years ago when I started this channel, I was just looking for above 108 as a good matchup. And now the offense has gotten so good that Atlanta on up is over 108. And we have to change our standards of what our favorable matchup because everything's up around the league. Down at the bottom, Cleveland, Philly, Milwaukee. Those are the standout teams that you don't really want to face. Despite the pace, Milwaukee's pace is a little bit quicker than the other guys, but they're still so good on defense. The other teams you expect to. Clippers, Boston, Memphis has got their way down there. Miami, although it depends on which group Miami's doing, but they always round it out there. And Dallas is kind of knocking on that door too. So we take that and we apply it to the week 12 schedule. So the first thing that should jump out at you, Washington only has 2 games. In your weekly lock league, they're basically unusable. Otherwise, only 8 teams have 3 games. So it's really a 4-game heavy week with the 21 remaining teams having 4 games. So if you're in weekly lock leagues, you definitely want to err on the side of the 4 games more than normal. It's always helpful, but you don't want to be short games a bunch of spots down the lineup. And even just make those weekly moves, it's all right streaming week, but you want to target those low volume days when we get to that at the end of the video and make sure that maybe some of those 4-game pickups will work for you. If you're playing DFS, I encourage you to come back and look at this often. If you don't want to come to the video, the link is down below. You can always go to the Google Sheets page and check it out. The dark green is a really favorable matchup, and what you want to find is when there's 2 dark green teams going against each other. So for example, Detroit against the Spurs on Friday. They play up in pace and they don't play a lot of defense. That should be a really good game to collect a lot of stats if you're playing in DFS. I would hit that game hard with the players that are available. Also, because there's not a ton of stars, they should be cheaper overall in your DFS lineups. Heads up for next week, Brooklyn only has 2 games, so think about that. They do get to play Miami on Sunday at the end of the week, but if you pick someone up to play them there, you probably don't get to roll them into next week, so I'd look for someone else for Sunday with your pickups. With that, let's talk about back-to-backs. It's a pretty good week for back-to-backs. There's no Monday, Tuesday at the start, but they're sprinkled throughout the rest of the week. So the closest you get is Denver, but we're already living Monday, so I can't tell you go back in time and pick someone up for a Sunday. So you want to focus on, say, like Milwaukee gets the Tuesday, Wednesday matchup, Oklahoma, Sacramento, things like that if you're looking for it. In the end of the week, you got a couple options there too, Dallas or Utah. For the teams we generally worry about for back-to-back, Golden State doesn't have one, Philly doesn't have one, Boston doesn't have one, Miami doesn't have one. New Orleans does, so Zion's probably going to miss one of those. And then Memphis does as well. Actually, they have only 3 games, and all of them are some form of back-to-back, 2 in this week and then 1 carrying into next week. I only mention that because Bane is still coming back from toe injury. He just missed the game last night because it was the second of a back-to-back. So I would expect Bane to miss 1 game this week, maybe 2. I've got him in a weekly lock league, so I'm just not playing him. I don't want a piece of it. As much as I'm excited for Bane to be back as a fan, because he's fun to watch, and as a fantasy owner, I'm still staying away until he's back to full strength. They're going to be cautious with it. They've got higher aspirations than what's happening in a single game in January, especially if it's Charlotte and Orlando. They're not even in the same conference. They can probably get those wins anyway. Although I say that, knock on wood, I might be jinxing them. The streaming schedule is where we really make the magic happen in our daily change leagues. And there's some pretty good options. Let's start by going over what the week looks like. Monday's 11, Tuesday's 12, Friday's 11. They're not going to get anyone in there off the bench unless you're dealing with an injury. Tuesday's 3, Thursday's 4, Saturday's 5. Those are really low volume days, so they're really helpful for you. Sunday's 9. Most of the league is playing, it's over half, but you might be able to do that, which leads me to, I think Utah has the best schedule. I'm not rocking any Jazz gear because they just had that the other week and I just did it. Plus I got this cool new channel jersey to wear. Anyway, Utah gets all 3 super low volume days. Sacramento, Houston, and Chicago. You don't mind the matchups, and they play Memphis to end the week on that back-to-back. So if there's anyone out there that you can pick up, obviously you're not getting the finisher or whatever. Lauri Markkanen is going to be rostered everywhere, but you can pick up someone there. It's going to help you a lot because you're going to get to work them in a lot of places. If not, Boston only has a 3-game week, but they do get all 3 low volume days. OKC, Dallas, and the Spurs. Dallas is a good defense, but OKC and the Spurs, you really like those matchups. And then to a lesser extent, kind of to end the week, I would look at Dallas against Boston, Pelicans, and OKC, 2 of the good days. And then Orlando, they get Memphis and Golden State on the low volume days and the OKC, but that's on Wednesday. That's on the highest volume day of 12. So I wouldn't hurry to get that, but you could scoop up someone for Orlando second half of the week, give you a little extra push. Just touch on a quick couple names for waivers before we get out of here. I'm not going to do the full thing with the icons and stuff. Mark Williams, he should be on your radar now for Charlotte. Had a couple good games. 8-7 on New Year's Eve. Not going to be anything to write home about, but he had 17 and 13 before that. 6-2, 9-6. It's nothing crazy. That's why he's only rostered in 15% of leagues. Keep an eye on it. If you want to scoop him up now because you might miss out on the potential, I don't think that's bad. Charlotte's got 4 games this week. None are on the good streaming days. So you're not doing it as a win now. You're doing it for, are you kicking yourself for letting it go later? It depends on what you have to cut. I would probably rather stream, but I could see Charlotte changing things up there, or just pounce if we hear something about a trade, if Plumlee or someone leaves there. I'm not hearing anything for sure about that yet. Just putting it on your radar now in case something happens over the next couple of weeks. Speaking of happening over the next couple of weeks, Cameron Johnson should be returning from injury for the Suns. He's 61% rostered as I look at it right this second. So he's not available everywhere, but it's 40% of leagues. In the shallower league, he was probably dropped with the injury because he hasn't played since early November. If he's going to be coming back or you got an injured slot available, you might be able to scoop him up and stash him now to be ready when he returns. He's already been ruled out for Monday as of what I'm reading. But again, over the next few weeks, he might be back and he could be a real contributor rather than just some of these fringe guys we're often talking about. And then Jalen Johnson for Atlanta is another name that is trending right now. He's getting extra minutes for the Hawks with some big man injuries. Capella's been out. Onyeka Okongwu starts, which means Jalen Johnson comes up. You get what it means. When someone falls, everyone else gets a little bit more minutes. He's had good games, 15-7, 14-6. I don't know if it's sustainable. Atlanta's got 4 games this week, but none on the good streaming day. If you want to go for it, he's 4% rostered. You can pick him up on any given day and plug him in and see how he does. I think that's fine. I don't think it's a season-long hold, so I wouldn't be making any big cuts for that. Like we talked about Sohan the other week, I would still rather have him from the Spurs. They've got 4 games. One of them's on the good streaming day, and I still believe a little bit more that that role is for sure going to be there, whereas this is just like the new something shiny. I'm not going nuts for it, but 96% available. I can't help but mention it. A player that could help you. A couple other quick injury notes. Jonathan Isaac is back to fully practice, but has absolutely no timetable to return for the Magic. So I don't think it helps us this week, but if you do hear something, they have a good end of week schedule. Could be worth it. He could be a league changer if he played consistent, but right now, who knows what's going to be there. But there's the update. He's playing and no new news. On the other hand, for the Suns, Landry Shamet started playing some extra minutes. Great points and 3-pointers. Missed a few games. I think he might be coming back this week. So go take a look. Shamet's only rostered in 26% of leagues. So in 3/4 of leagues, you could pick him up. And as long as Booker's going to be out, he should be getting a lot of minutes. That's going to do it for the Week 12 roundup. Sorry it's coming out late. At least I got you something. Next couple weeks, I'm actually going to be on the road as well. So we will still do the schedule breakdowns. Waiver wire might not be happening, but you can always try and reach me on Twitter at bballanalyzer or down in the comments down below. If I see it, I promise I will get back to them. But if I'm traveling, I'm not taking the whole camera mic setup. It's a lot to deal with, so I will pre-record some. So for this week and the next few, you know what I want you to do? Go out and win your week. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.